Hey there, YouTube's Chris Holman here. I am joining you tonight for me. It's early morning for my guest. Tonight we are uh, with Maysam, Pakistani student. We will be discussing the Afghan culture and Maysam, Pakistani student. Oh, I had an echo there. Hold on. We will be okay. So, Maysam, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks Chris for inviting me here and having my opinion here. My name is Nathan Abbas and I'm a Pakistani student and I don't know much about the Afghan and other things, but I would like to have my opinion for it because I have seen the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, yeah, if it works for the people and if they hear me and if they think that I'm right, we can change. And
Okay. So, just a quick little introduction for myself. My name is Chris Holman. This is my YouTube channel. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I myself was deployed to Afghanistan some years ago, and I cover a lot of like men's issues and some firearm content, philosophy, religion, stuff like that. And so today I wanted to share with my viewers, an opportunity that came my way. So Maysam and I connected on Facebook and we began talking. And he's really a brilliant young man, and he's got an interesting insight. And the things that he says, of course, is I have experience in seeing a lot of that myself. So I know that what he's saying is truth. Um, so in this interview, I guess we're going to start with the Afghan culture. If you could just kind of explain to my viewers, um, you don't have to go in too much in depth, but the uniqueness of the Afghan culture.
yeah, there are many factors that are just halting US to win the war in Afghanistan, and just the main reason is that its relation with public, I mean, masses are not that good because they have not same religion and they haven't got such a good culture that are similar and between them. And most importantly, that they say that the people that are on for sale, they are infidel, which I don't believe, and they are misinterpreting the Quran.
Right.
And they say that whether they are helping us or not, it doesn't make a difference for us. So we are not going to make them friends. Just help get them out of here, or we gonna not make the things better.
Right.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought with Afghanis. They told us that whether they are helping us or not, it doesn't care for them. They think that we can handle the thing for us. We just leave it on them and make the things better for them because you're doing good, but it's not getting fruit. I
Right.
think so.
So one thing that I experienced over there was that the majority of the Afghan people I interacted with, they had families. They just wanted to provide for their families. They wanted to arrange, a good marriage for their daughters, and the young men wanted, because in their culture to get married. Sometimes they wouldn't get married until they were in their 30s because they had to save up money for what I'm assuming is kind of like a dowry, like they're paying to the father of the bride, um, and but at the same time, like I mean, that's all that they really want in their life, and their concern outside of Afghanistan is kind of limited, but at the same time, they don't want foreign interference in Afghanistan. They've had that for decades. right? So,
Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah.
mean, going
And
back to the
Afghan,
60s.
yeah, well, yeah,
So, I guess my next question then is, I mean, you had mentioned that it doesn't matter if we're doing good or not; they just want us out of their country. Um, I just recently saw in the news where the Taliban had reached out, asking to have talks with U.S. Forces, and it's so far has been ignored, which I think is a huge, huge mistake. Last I heard that was the case. I don't know if anything has changed from that.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. That's a better thing that we were hoping for. The decade that it came out, and it's a better thing when the Taliban is getting onto the table because the wars are always solved by dialogues, not by just pulling triggers on them. And that's
right,
what the US was doing for last decade.
right,
I mean, yeah, Taliban are not mentally ready for it because they have they have some different kind of agenda. They think that we are Muslims, so we are very conservative kind of person, and we don't want to talk with infidels, and we don't want to make them friends. They are just for enemies. That's what they think. That's what I know as a
right,
Muslim. But I think that if they are saying that we are getting only tribal for some, good things, it may work, but I don't know the intentions of Taliban or it. But I think that for the stability of region, it would be better that we just, go to tribal and talk. It
right,
saves people, it saves money, it saves most importantly blood that every nation has lost. I think
right,
that's a good news.
right. So the way that I look at the whole situation is, and I know that we agree on this, is that so long as there are foreign troops on Afghan soil, the Afghans will continue to fight regardless. It doesn't matter. Um, so the only concession that would be accepted, if we were to try to sue for peace, right, to try to bring an end to this war, uh, this is the only way that it would end, would be in exchange for U.S. forces pulling out of Afghanistan, then that would be the concession made on coalition forces in exchange for the Taliban's word. However well we can believe it or not, but to take their word that they will not permit terrorist training camps to take hold. But there's another dynamic at play there in Afghanistan now that wasn't there when I was there because they didn't exist yet. And that is that there are now ISIS fighters in Afghanistan and they don't get along with the Taliban.
Exactly.
And so there is the fear too, though, that if we were to completely pull out of Afghanistan, that would still leave the Taliban with foreign boots on soil, but it would be other Muslim ISIS fighters seeking to set up a caliphate again there in Afghanistan. And that would be disastrous for everyone. It would be disastrous for the Afghan people, for the Pakistani people, really all the neighboring countries. It would be catastrophic for the world, really, because then you can guarantee there will be terrorist training camps, there will be executions, there will be strict interpretations of Sharia law, and oppressions placed upon the Afghan people. The Afghan people, many of them will in fact suffer if they were under ISIS rule. Maybe then, what could be proposed is that U.S. forces would be withdrawn and allowed for maybe a support force of from other Muslim nations to be there to fight back and ensure that ISIS doesn't take control. Do you think that would be a fair agreement?
Yeah, exactly. It's a fair agreement, but I am fair that it might not work that way
Yeah.
because because you think that you're gonna bring the Muslims troops and just show them, yeah, they are same in culture and religion to them, so they could be your friends. I mean, that is the change in plan and strategy. That is a good thing, and US is good at that. I mean, US is good at diplomacy. They have proved it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna work. But it is very, very dangerous, and also, I mean, you have to keep it very secret, just for 2 or 3 offices. Your one hand would know, and the other wouldn't be aware of that. That must be like that, and you must be very smart at that. Yeah, it's a very, very good idea.
Okay.
I support it. Wish if US had done this before getting into Afghanistan with thousands of troops and
Yeah.
getting nothing in turn, just
Right.
lost money, lost people, and just and
Yeah.
lost of a lot of blood that they would be regretful for that. That why they did this.
Right.
Instead, they could use different ways which you mentioned,
Okay.
and I am completely agree with you on this. Yeah, and US is good at that. They have proved it. I mean,
Yeah.
so Saudi Arabia is a very good ally. They're a good
Yeah.
friend to US,
Yeah.
and Saudi Arabia can do that by themselves because whether it's ISIS, whether it's Taliban, whether it's Al Qaeda, they all believe in you. Saudi Arabia,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, do it differently,
Yeah.
use different strategy,
Well,
you may be successful.
we could. I'm
Not the way
sure.
you are doing.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
What
just go on.
what I was just going to say was that the U.S. could still support whatever, say, Saudi Arabia, a joint, Muslim coalition. The U.S. could still support them monetarily without having any boots on ground. I think that's possible. Um, my friend and moderator Kelly PB Pham says hello, Chris and guest. Thank you for joining me, Kelly. Tanya DeBeer is also watching. She says hello. So we have some people watching. Um,
Yes, yeah.
so you were telling me earlier that you're in school for engineering, but you're really wanting to get into politics. So I'm curious as to what path you would like to go down in politics. What would you like to accomplish in the political sphere in your country?
Yeah, my country is just mixed up with a lot of things, and yeah, I'm very brave enough to say on it, on media or whatever, on any platform that yeah, we were involved in Afghanistan
Mm-hmm.
and we didn't help, USA because we were fearful that if we just fight against the Taliban, they would come to our country and blast us as they did. And I think that's not a good because we should be all together for the good of the stability of that region.
Right.
And we were just not putting the things closer. Instead, we
Mm-hmm.
just made it much worse.
Right.
If I was in charge, I wouldn't do that, and just I would be just joining hands with US
Mm-hmm.
by not that just go and pull trigger, but
Right.
I would use a different way.
Mm-hmm.
I just you mentioned that making just facing them with their own people and feeling
Right.
them their own friends.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, the
and
pat the go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, just no, just ask them.
So there a dynamic there in the Afghan war is that the Taliban fighters would uh, they would actually be on the Pakistani side of the border. My dog's barking. I apologize. Madison. Shh. So they would be on the Pakistani border, and then they'd cross into Afghanistan and attack U.S. and coalition forces, and then retreat back across the Pakistani border. And U.S. forces for a long time couldn't do anything about it. And so there was. Hold on a minute. So I'm back. So what would happen is the Pakistani military would then on their side, on that side of the border, would work in conjunction with U.S. and coalition forces. But there was also airstrikes done in Pakistan by U.S. and coalition forces. And I think that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, yeah, it's what you're saying that might be true, but what Pakistan is doing something against US, that's not what Pakistan is doing. That's what the US did with Pakistan, and that's
Right.
what Pakistan is doing in turn with US, because US was there in Pakistan doing drones, killing innocent people that
Right.
weren't even involved in such a war, killing. Once we had a US drone attack on Pakistani soil, and there were 14 children killed in it, and that was a very bad thing for us because we are an independent country. We
Yeah.
don't let anyone to go here. So, as such country asks us to just join hands with us. If you want to look into that angle, join hands with us and fight against them.
Right.
Which in turn, the US would get out, would be help for us because they would look and ask us, why did you help them?
Right.
So that might be right that the terrorists, I wouldn't say terrorists, but Taliban and Al Qaeda were on the Pakistani soil in Quetta, which is very nearest to Pakistan,
Yeah.
and also the other borders, they were there. Everyone knew that, and everyone still know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that this is what we were doing because everyone is doing best for its interest, and it was best in our interest to do so.
Right. Ultimately, I would like to see peace in the region, but it's a very complex situation. The Afghanistan war is. It is very complex. I believe that a solution is possible, and I don't think the solution necessarily has to be complex, like we had just previously discussed. If concessions can be made on both sides, then I think that we could bring an end to this. I think it would be feasible, and actually it would be. I think we need to do this is to have some repairing of relations between the Pakistan government and the U.S. government, just because that we can't just pull out and leave the region destabilized, right? When the U.S. leaves a region destabilized, you get things like ISIS in Iraq and Syria, or the reemergence of slavery in Libya, and Islamic extremism throughout portions of North Africa and the Middle East. And so the way I think to do that then is to form some kind of relationship with the Pakistani government, repair what is there. It doesn't mean we have to have boots on ground, but if we could support the Pakistani government in a way that would allow for Pakistan to help keep that region stable in conjunction with other, uh, Arab countries or Muslim countries. Um, I will say this: I believe the Afghan people have the right to govern themselves the way they see fit. If they want to have Sharia law for themselves, if that's what the vast majority of the people want, and I do believe it is, they we should not stand in the way of that.
Yeah.
I don't support Sharia law. I think it's abhorrent. But if that is what those people want, they should have that. The United States needs to stop trying to impose our system of governance on the world. and we need to stop. We need to stop interfering and having these wars of regime change and all that. Now, I mean, we were justified in going into Afghanistan because of 9/11. That's true. We're absolutely justified to have boots on ground, but at the same time, going into a war without any kind of exit strategy is foolish. And the way that we went about it by just taking a coalition of Western armies and Western soldiers and then going into Afghanistan, it creates this environment of a war that will just never end so long as we are there.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and there is one main thing that I would like to say that US is. I would like to say US is very foolish at that, because you are going to a place which is far away from where you are,
right.
1,000 miles far away from where you are,
thousands of miles.
Going to a place which shares its boundary with a country like Iran, which is a very enemy to USA.
Yeah.
And then you make Pakistan an enemy too, which has the world's strongest intelligence agency, which can do anything in any minute. So it's gonna be very foolish. You are going to a place which are far away from you. You have limited armies there. You don't have relations there. You are just making it wrong by tweeting, which Donald Trump did in 1 January, and said that Pakistan is deceiving us and a lot of more things, that they shame Pakistan in front of world.
Right.
And you are going to a place which is far away, and you are fighting in a place which shares its border with Iran, and Iran is helping them.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be very foolish. You don't want to make things better with Iran. Instead, you are fighting against them. They are fighting against you.
Right.
This is getting worse. And still, Iran is defeating you in Afghanistan. They are defeating you in Afghanistan. You send troops, they are dead. You send more, they are dead. You send more, they are dead. What the hell gonna US do there? Aren't they foolish? You don't think that you're gonna turn out against Pakistan and think that they are a terrorist country and they are doing this. So what the hell do you expect from Pakistan if you call them terrorists? And that should make sense for you, that we are doing very big mistake here. Still, we are here because you send troops, they are dead. You send troops, Iran backing them. I wouldn't say what Pakistan is doing right now, but Iran is backing them, and Russia is also with them. Behind the closed doors, you never know what happens.
Yeah.
So that's something the US is making very big mistake. The place where their limited troops are is surrounded by their own enemies, and they should be their very best friends, especially Iran and Pakistan, which are very near to them and share border with them. So don't you think that US is very foolish to do this?
Well, I agree. The way that we went into that war is foolish, and the way the war is continuing is foolish. I mean, I agree. So the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, right? Well, that's exactly what U.S. and coalition forces have been doing now for almost 16 years. So yes, we need a different strategy because this strategy isn't working. So what is best for everyone, I believe, what I believe is best for everyone is, the U.S. and coalition forces to pull out, but to be replaced by, Muslim forces from, say, United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia, maybe Jordan, a coalition of Muslim countries, Islamic countries that can go in, that will not be seen as invaders, but be seen as brothers, as helpers. And then the U.S. can provide a financial support until it can be stabilized. Of course, ISIS forces need to be routed and removed from Afghanistan. And then at that point, once that is done the Afghanistan can be stabilized under the rulings of governance that the Afghan people want, then all foreign forces can then be pulled out.
Exactly. The best solution for it that I think that US, instead of just pulling triggers over them, they just what do, engage the Taliban and Al Qaeda in a way that you see the best with its own government and make them involved in its politics. Like they
Right.
are the people of Afghanistan. So give them in a way. I don't think that US will do it better and the best way. Engage them with their own government. That first the US need to do. I mean, just feel them that we are your friend and just don't kill them and just don't fight against them and treat them with the fairest friend. I mean, yeah, you are my friend and we too, we just come here to help each other. Yeah, that's
Right.
the one point. Second point is that if you are just against Iran, then Iran will leave no stone unturned to just defeat US in Afghanistan. And they would do that. And they are doing this. Just take the thing better with Iran. So Iran would help you in turn and ask with Pakistan. So Pakistan would also help you in turn. And Pakistan is the only key to this. And Pakistan can end this and Pakistan don't want it to last for centuries.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I see.
So I have a viewer that that had some questions regarding your accent. So your accent sounds very similar to what one would hear in parts of India. And so, can you explain to our viewers how why your accent while some accents in Pakistan are similar to what you would hear in India? Can you
Yeah,
little history behind that?
you meant to say that my accent resembles to an Indian.
Yeah, so your accent resembles the accent in some parts of India. So can you kind of explain that to my viewers?
Well, I don't think so.
Oh, you know.
I think that I never noted that what my accent is like and which country
yeah.
it resembles.
Well,
but I think that I resemble to my own Pakistan because Pakistani and Indians were same for centuries. We were living in the same country for centuries.
Right.
We just separated in 1950. So if you see a person, you will see either they are Pakistani or Indian. I mean,
Right.
they are very related people, Indian and Pakistani. They have, they are different religions, but they have same kind of shapes,
Right.
mostly.
Right.
Same kind of, like they all like somehow same because we were together for centuries. And yeah, I wouldn't say that because I don't have friends in
Right.
India. And
well, you answered the
I
question. You answered the question. Pakistan up until 1950 was in India, and the peoples are related.
Before 1947, we were in India.
Yeah.
So we had centuries together, our ancestors worked together. So we have many things in common.
Yeah, it's the same peoples. There you go. All right. Well, I guess we're going to go ahead and in this stream here in a moment. I'm going to give you an opportunity to speak from your heart to my viewers and anyone around the world who may see this. Any message that you would like to put out. I'll give you that time. So anything that you may have to say, go ahead.
Yeah, I have one message that is love, because God has created this love, this world just for love, and we can live with each other by applying the rules of love, because love is the message from God, and humans personally love each other, whether they are enemy or not. And we just we just need to we just need to get out of bigotry. We say that he is Muslim, I'm Christian, so he is right and wrong, or sorry, I'm right or he is wrong. So we just need to accept each other and giving value to each other. Don't think that I'm right, so other would be wrong or whatever related to this. Just we are human, we are same, and we are all one in this world. So just share love and
Mhm.
just don't what people say to you, don't or what you read and use or whatever you listen from the people, just don't immediately react on it. Just see that what agenda and propaganda are behind it. That's what I want to say, and you
Mhm.
would never be an astray.
Amen. Oh man, God is love. Wow. I love that message. I end all of my videos and live streams with God is love, God bless. So we're in agreement on that as well. So with that,
Yeah,
we're going to go ahead and end the stream here in just a second. I wish everybody here in the United States and in Pakistan and around the world a great day and peace and a long and prosperous life. God is love. God bless.